One of the most colorful characters in the history of college basketball, Coach E.A. Diddle is widely recognized as the initiator of the famous red towel. Various professional and college athletes and coaches have tried to emulate the former Western coach, but none have been so colorful. He once told a player who was completing a rebounding drill, "Keep doing it all afternoon. You'll either do it the way I tell you or you'll do it right." The late Ed Diddle did it right.
His 759 victories attest to the success he had on the basketball court, but those who knew Edgar Allen Diddle knew him for more than just his coaching accomplishments. He was a man who had a deep caring for his students, as he revealed in a story about then Western student Kelly Thompson.
Yes, he was on his way home when I caught him one morning going down the street, and I picked him up and went to the bank and borrowed this $25 and signed this note for it. And from that $25, K-Wood, he's now president of the institution. I imagine that he's making a pretty good salary.
Diddle's Western career spanned more than 40 years, and his tenure included coaching stints in football, baseball, and women's basketball, as well as men's basketball. The championships came often for the colorful coach, who is credited with making the red towel part of Western's tradition. And when he recruited a basketball player, it was more than just his athletic ability he cared about.
Well, the first thing, I'd like to see his grades. See whether he does and how good his grades are. And the next thing, I'd like to look at his hands, his feet. Be sure that you don't want a 220-pound boy wearing a 9.5 shoe, because he'll fall over. He's got to have all houses has to have a good foundation, and all big boys have to have a big foot or they can't stand up.
And while winning on the court was always a goal for Diddle, winning in life was more important for his boys.
The biggest kick that I get from that kid is to know that I have trained him, and he's gone out into the community or into business or into professionals, lawyers, doctors, dentists, preachers, coaches, and are successful and are doing a great job for the community and the county and the state in which he resides.
1992 Hall of Distinguished Alumni honoree, E.A. Diddle.
I'm very honored, and it's a great pleasure to accept this from my father. Unfortunately, this is about the 5th time, and I'm really on different occasions that I've had this honor, and I wish that he could have lived long enough to do the Naismith and a few of those on his own. But as you know, he was noted so much for his diddleisms, and you know, the 16-foot one-handers and the lineup according to alphabetically according to height, and the wreck story and all that. But somebody sent me a clipping the other day, I think it was from Paducah, that I'd never heard. I thought I'd heard them all, and said when he was coaching football, he had this quarterback, wasn't too bright, but he was a pretty good athlete. And they were down, I think, 6 points with a little time left in the game, and this quarterback calls this play, and they score, kick the extra point, win by 1 point. And he went up to this boy and said, "That's amazing." He said, "You fooled everybody. How come you'd call that play?" And he said, "Well, Coach, it was easy." He said, "My roommate's number's 12 and my number's 9. I added them together and it was 22. So I called 22, and Dad said, 'Well, 9 and 12 are 21. He said, "Well, golly, Coach, if I was as smart as you are, we'd have lost." So it is a great honor, and I agree with a lot of the things there. I didn't know how many games he had won or whether he's 3rd or 4th. I don't think that was that important to him. I think the value he taught students, how to live life, not only athletes, but all students. And he was, as you know, you didn't throw paper on the campus, or you didn't walk on the grass and things like that. So he got to know most of them, because he'd make them pick it up or get off the grass. So I think there's some of the things. When I was growing up, though, I couldn't understand sometimes how he could give so much away for us to do without so much. But later in life, I really understand it. But He loved people. He loved coaching. I think it's a totally different breed of coaching now than back when he coached. He probably, in 42 years here, made less than some of the coaches now make in 2 years. But money wasn't it. And I think they're trying to complicate the game a lot now and how great they are and write books how great they are and all that. And I don't think he had to do that. He always said coaching was 80% recruiting, 10% psychology, and 10% luck. And I think there's a lot to that. And a little bit of coaching every once in a while, he said. But it's a great honor to accept this. And also, there was one person that was kind of quiet, didn't say a whole lot, stayed in the background. But she's kind of like E.F. Hutton. When she spoke, Daddy listened. That was my mother. She could really handle him when it came time for that. So it is a great honor. It's hard to critique 42 years in a few minutes, but there's so many things I'd like to say, but most of you sitting there, I'm sure there are people sitting here that wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for him. And I think that's what would please him more than anything. Thank you.